As you know, I'm with Sarita. Sarita is a BTech in mechanical and an MBA in HR. She heads our business vertical called CherryPix as a part of HR Footprints. HR Footprints is organized into different business verticals, which fairly independent in their operations. Sarita heads one of those verticals called CherryPix, which focuses on executive search. So in this chat today, I thought I will go into a little deeper, unlike my regular day-to-day conversations, and try to understand some nuances about executive search and overall what are the trends in talent acquisition, etc. Because she has been an expert in this area for many years now. So welcome, Sarita.
Thank you, sir.
So to begin with, I want to start with this name called CherryPix. It's an interesting, little unusual name for an executive search firm. So how
Right.
did you get that, and what does it really stand for?
So when we ventured into executive search, so we were really thinking we should have a unique name for the service that we are offering to the organizations. And as you understand, executive search is just specialized service, and we have to pick the right candidate from the talent that is available across various organizations. So we thought maybe picking the right cherry from the pool of talent available should really resemble the service that we are rendering. So that's how this name came up as CherryPix.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So you used a word called executive search and picking from the available pool of talent, etc. Um, I know we keep hearing these words like recruitment, talent acquisition, executive search, headhunting. Are they all same, or is there any difference?
Yeah, end of the day, it's all about hiring the right talent, but these words are used based on the models that we really operate in or the kind of level of people that you're hiring for. So when you say recruitment, recruitment is usually hiring a position or a person against a job description or a skill set that you really have as a defined document. So you just have to keep looking for the skill sets match and the job description match and kind of hire the person. So usually this happens at junior and middle level. So that is called recruitment services. So when you say executive search, so organizations really want a specialized service of identifying passive talent that is available in the market or available across various organizations, and they need specialized people who can really go tap the right candidate based on the organization's background and pick the right talent for them. That's called an executive search. So headhunting is part of executive search, I would say. Headhunting is more about going and picking a person by name. If an organization want to go and tap a specific person or a person from a specific organization, so that's when it is called
Okay.
as headhunting.
Okay. So from the description of, for example, headhunting, how can an internal recruiter within an organization start directly contacting someone from the competition and start almost hijacking the talent from your competition? Is it okay, or are there any sensitivities?
Yeah, there are a lot of sensitivities, and I don't think that's something an internal employee or an internal recruiter would usually do. Because going and tapping someone from your competition or someone who is known in the market directly from an organization will become very sensitive on both sides. You know, either the candidate cannot really come and say, I'm interested to explore an opportunity with you at a very senior level, and the world is too small for the news to get spreaded. So that's where organizations engage expert agencies such as CherryPix or any other executive search agency to via media act as a mediator for this entire transaction and try to get the right talent based on the requirement that they have. So that's where the sensitivities are protected. Yeah.
Okay. So do companies come to agencies like CherryPix or anyone else because of the sensitivity, or is there any other value add that you give? For example, if I wanted to hire a senior resource, and if I
Right.
approach something
Right.
like cherry picks. What exactly is a value add that maybe an internal recruiter may not be able to spare time to do whatever it is?
Yeah, the major value addition will be building your organization brand with the kind of background that you have. So, in the very first conversation, in case you want to hire a senior person, so we personally meet you and have an conversation to understand why do you really want to hire this position for, and what is your business background, and how is it going, and what's the business plan for next 3 to 5 years, and what will be the career path of this person, or what's the exact expectations from this role that you're looking at, and what kind of a culture you are in, and what kind of a person will really fit in your culture is something that we understand in the very first meeting from you. And we frame a document in terms of the overall expectations, and that's when we go and pitch this to an potential candidates whom we feel will be a right fit for the culture and the organization's growth plans and all of that. So that will be a major value addition for any organization from an expert agencies. And similarly, we also do this with the candidate. So we have an career dialogue with every candidate that we really hire for senior level. So we don't go and just sell this opportunity or share the job description and say, boss, are you really looking at this opportunity, or do you want to explore? But we try and understand what has been his career so far, and what would be the next step in his career trajectory, and see if there is a match between these two, and then go sell this opportunity to the candidate and create some interest. And we also set up an exploratory meeting with the business owner and the candidate, and once they see there is a mutual interest and they want to move forward, that's when we get into a formal hiring process, or your recruitment process. So that's a major value addition any organization or candidate can get from an executive search agency.
Okay, so maybe the first part of presenting the business and the organization and drafting out a job description or expectations, possibly that is something an internal recruiter also may be able to do. But showcasing this to a potential candidate and also understanding candidates' career dialogue, the way you called it, I think
Right.
maybe those are the other additional benefits of
True.
approaching an
True.
executive search agency.
True. Also, when an internal recruiter try and pitch with the same approach of the organization's background and all of that, there are always the sensitivities of the company name being spelled out at the first moment itself. So, if an internal recruiter
Ah,
really calls up a candidate and say, "Hello, sir, I'm calling from a so and so organization, and I have an opportunity," there are chances that
yeah.
candidates may not really open up. So, because the
No,
word may
I think that's a
spread,
good point.
right, the word
Yeah,
may spread, or or sometimes the exact picture of the organization may not be a right picture available in the market. So that's where we try
okay,
and fill these gaps and also protect the interests of both sides, so that will be a major
right.
difference for any organization to look for.
Excellent, excellent. Now I see a very critical role there,
Right.
maintaining the sense of confidentiality till the
Right.
dialogue reaches certain level of maturity.
True.
Then possibly you have a mutual disclosure of the
True.
company as well as disclosing about the candidate. If
True.
things don't work out, at least you can stop the process there itself,
True.
with all due respect for confidentiality and privacy. I
Right.
see that possibly is a
Right.
major advantage why executive search agencies are approached. Excellent.
Right.
Now, once you go through all this career dialogue and facilitate the whole thing, for example, a stage comes where you're about to now take this person on board. And that is the time, again, I keep hearing lots of interesting variations. People say, yeah, I think I'll hire this person as a permanent resource, or, I will hire this person on contract, or there's something called rate card model. What are they? What are they? And are they very different, or some jargon?
Right. So these are various models that are available in the market. So when you say executive search or recruitment or permanent hiring, so all of these are for hiring mid and senior level talent for any organization, and these are for permanent positions that are available within an organization. So
Mhm.
this is where executive search or permanent hiring or headhunting or regular recruitment, all of these words belong to this specific category. And there's a second category called contract staffing, where organizations get a chance to hire the employees for a specific time period, maybe for about 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. So this is really done because they can observe the candidate in terms of his performance or the behavioral aspects for a certain period of time. And once they feel this is the right fit, that's when they can attract this candidate or convert this candidate into a permanent hiring position. So that's where people call this as contract staffing, or contract to hire is a similar word. So the word you mentioned as rate card is more about the pricing model that works out between the organization and the candidate. And usually these candidates are offered by external agencies, and they will be on the payroll of the external agency till such time the organization really want to hire them as a permanent employee.
Okay.
And there is a third model called temp staffing, which is called temporary staffing. This is usually done for project based or timeline based or season based hiring activities. So as we keep seeing in some of the industries such as construction or agrochemical or any engineering kind of an industries, there is a requirement of people for specific project or a specific timeline. So instead of organization hiring them as a full-time resource and putting them on the payroll only for just few months, that really is a burden and a big hassle for organizations to deal with. So that's why they look at agencies who provide them such resources or such skill sets readily available, who can start immediately, and they will be on the payroll of the third party. So organizations run this for a specific time period for about 6 months or 10 months or 12 months based on the project that they have. And once that is done, the relationship ends there between the employee and the candidate and the organization. So these are various models that are available in the market.
So the big difference I see between contract to hire and temp staffing is in contract to hire, there may be a possibility of converting the association into a permanent association, which is not the case in temp staffing. That's a big difference.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Now, a quick subset of your contract to hire model.
Right.
I do keep hearing in some places that there is an interim CEO, there is an interim CFO. Recently, I heard there is an interim CMO, Chief Marketing Officer.
Right.
These are all very top level resources. They just come for exactly for a couple of years with a specific mandate. And once that is done, no commitments, no promises. Do you call them as contract to hire, or do you call them as temp staffing? What do you call this as?
We call this more as time-bound engagements with consultants. So when you say CFOs or CXOs or the senior level people, they really like to call themselves as expert consultants or interim CXOs for any specific organization, given the kind of background that they come with and a lot of experience that they carry. So here what happens is when organizations are going through a major transformation. So sometimes it can be from a promoter driven to a professionally run organization, or someone is going for an IPO, or someone want to go pitch for a funding. So that's where they want to put up a lot of systems, processes, and also take the organization through a lot of transformation. So here, instead of having such a senior people as a full-time resources, organizations engage with them on a project basis as consultants. So this is more called as, in other words, people also call this as advisory services. Yeah.
Okay, but these people may actually be on the roles of your client organization, right? They may not be on the third-party role.
Yeah, they will not be on the third-party payroll, and they don't even treat them as full-time employees. So they call them as consultants. So they are not a full-time employee of an organization.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the attraction for some of the senior level people to look for such fixed term contracts? It's a fixed term contract, right? I mean, they just work for this company for 1 year, 2 years with a specific scope. What is their attraction?
So their interest is getting exposed to various industries or various challenges, and someone who can really show us results, or someone who is keen to show the
Okay.
ROI for the amount that the organization is spending in terms of time and money. So people who are really looking for challenges, or who are really confident about themselves that they can really turn around the organization, so they look at these kind of assignments. And I think
Interesting.
going forward, most of the senior people will get into such kind of a roles.
No, that's an interesting statement. So,
Yeah.
so you're saying it may not be always a permanent position. It could also be an interim CXO kind of a positions.
True.
But by the way, do you or your team handle such kind of assignments as well, or you're fully restricted only for permanent hiring?
Not really. We also do that, and in fact, our CEO works as an interim HR head for ISB. So this has been going on for last 3 years, and we also
Yeah.
have we also have some of our HR consulting vertical heads who run HR for a couple organizations for a specific time period, and they act as a HR head for that specific organization during that time period. So we also take up such assignments.
Okay. So excellent. So we are talking about permanent hiring, contract to hire, or interim CXOs, or temp staffing, which is a different ball game
Correct.
completely. So now coming very specifically to your experiences, any specific challenges that you have dealt with in this whole sensitive game of dialoguing and facilitating a dialogue between a
Right.
client organization and employee.
Right.
So any specific challenges that you recall?
Yeah, the major challenge that keeps coming is, transparency between the organization and the agency. As long as the organization treat the agency as a third party vendor or someone they're seeking a service from and paying them, so this relation will not give them a fruitful result, or this will not be a success. So as long as we interact with the business owners or the managing directors or the very senior talent who really want to hire these senior positions, they'll be pretty open and explain us these are the issues or challenges that we have, so would you really help us find the right resource. But the moment that happens, and when it is delegated to the next level to take forward on the next set of actions or giving us more information, so sometimes what happens is a lot of internal teams, either it from the management side or from the HR side, people treat us more as a threat at sometimes. Rather, we always try and pitch and tell the internal team that we are not a threat, or we are not a competitor for them, but we are trying to be an additional hand for their team to attract the right talent. So as much as transparent as possible they are, and they keep sharing a lot of information with us about the organization. That's when we go pitch the right talent and come back to the internal team to go present it to the management that these guys and we collaborated and brought you this right talent to the organization. So
Okay.
breaking that relationship or getting into a good terms with that internal team has been a major challenge with a lot of promoter driven organizations or mid-sized organizations. And
Okay.
also from the candidate side, as a similar experience, as long as you don't go and present yourself as a very confident person who has really have so much hands-on information about the business, so the candidates do not really open up with you for a conversation during your career dialogue, or trying to set up an exploratory meeting or checking with them whether they're really keen for this opportunity. So I think both sides, you have to be on your toes with a lot of information, and also you have to be very good at managing those relationships with your interpersonal skills.
Okay. So one is the trust and transparency on both sides. Actually, even the same transparency and trust has to be there on the candidate side also. I
Right.
think winning that is seems to be the major kind of a challenge.
Right.
But very honestly, if you were to tell me, your money essentially comes. You're an agency, so your money comes from your client organization. So you should be in a hurry to sell some story to a candidate and somehow convince them and get them on board so that you can do your billing, right? So there itself there's a bit of question mark on the overall trust element.
Right, right. So I think most of the organizations have this in their mind, but for us, it's always our interest is always towards building the trust and building a long-term relationship both with organizations and the candidates. So today,
Mhm.
if I am just looking at this one specific billing and trying to get a wrong candidate for an organization, so that does not give me a long-term relationship or business opportunity with the organization. Similarly, I'm losing this candidate here because I put him in a wrong place, and tomorrow he is not coming back to me when he really wants to have a change, or when when he has some challenges with the opportunity that he's already handling. So I think
Mhm.
for me, it's more than a billing. It's the business opportunity, or is the trust or the long-term relationship is what we really focus on. And there are situations where we really went to the organizations and told, even at an advanced stage of selection, that we have not got a really good feedback about a specific candidate, or there has been some disturbances in the previous organization, so please do not hire the person even though he is from our source. So
Hmm.
organizations were really surprised, to hear this, and they said, "Why are you doing this?" So I mean, that's where we are trying to add value. So if I try push this candidate tomorrow, they both realize this is a wrong place or a wrong, decision that they've taken. I think that's where the trust is gone, or the relationship is gone. Yeah.
Hmm. So you're saying at the cost of some short-term loss to your business, you choose to be more transparent and trustworthy because that will help you in the long run. Okay, okay, right. So finally, before we close this conversation, I have two specific things. Now, we spoke about the challenges in your profession, but I'm sure there must have been some happy moments also, right? So give me a couple of examples, maybe two, three examples where you were really appreciated for your work, or you or your team was
Right.
very well appreciated by the clients, and for what?
Okay. So I think always consistently the quality and the turnaround time has been a biggest strength for our vertical or the team that I really have with me. So most of the times organizations really come to us saying that we need this candidate yesterday, sort of urgency. So
Yeah.
we try to maintain a consistency on the turnaround time and say within 24 hours from the time you gave me a requirement. Usually for junior
Okay.
to mid level, we try to get back to them with couple options of good candidates, and that's where from there they take it forward. Also, the kind of quality we always try to match between 3:1. So the moment I send three profiles to the organization, we always have the success rate of one person getting selected from these three candidates. So these,
Three. That's it.
yeah, the
I,
first set.
I, I thought typically recruitment agencies send a huge bunch of profiles to the recruiters,
I
internal
know
recruit.
that happens at a very junior level and with most of the agencies, but we choose to send minimum three, and it has to be one among them. So that's the amount of validation, or that's the amount of quality that we try and maintain. All this
Okay.
happens only with the support of organization of giving us a lot of information, or telling us the right specifications of their expectations. So
Sure.
these two has been major driving factors for a lot of our success so far. And
So quality and turnaround time.
right, right.
These are the two. Anything else?
So I think these two, and the third thing is we understand the industry and the function so very well that the moment there is an opportunity in a specific organization, so when we are having a dialogue, we try and put forward so many right questions to the organization to get as much information as possible. So they also have a confidence that these guys are now understanding my industry, understanding my business, so
Hmm.
I can easily work with them. So I think that's the major value addition that me and my team actually brings on table. And similarly, when we talk to the candidates, when we give so much of industry information and so much of benchmarking of the kind of roles that this person is applying for, and giving the background of the organization of so much information, that really gains confidence of the candidate. And I have a hit ratio of candidate joinings more because of these
Okay.
relationships or because of this information sharing and transparency. My offer to joining ratio also is very high. So these three
Hmm.
things have been a major success factors for us to drive the business so far. And
So I must say that you and your team must be learning quite a bit about various industries, right? Every time you get a new client from a new industry,
right.
you end up studying a lot about that industry. So that gives you a lot of breadth.
True.
Okay.
Yeah. And in terms of appreciations, we had good appreciations for most of the senior hirings that we have done. So for
Okay.
a mid-sized organization which is into pharma industry, so we tried and pitched to the managing director that now that the business is stable at this level, he has to now start focusing on the growth opportunities, and he has to start visualizing the future and start building a strategy, corporate R&D kind of a setup. And he really liked that idea, and he asked, why don't you now that you understand the requirement, why don't you go tap a right candidate for us and get back to us. So we quickly mapped the kind of talent that is available with us, and incidentally we had a very good candidate who comes with the same background and was looking for a very challenging opportunity, and asking us to help him identify an opportunity for him. So that's where we did a matchmaking between these two, and both of them were pretty happy. And
Okay.
even today, I think there was a lot of appreciation from both of them whenever we speak with them, that we did a very good matchmaking for both of them. And now the organization is about a 1500 crore organization, and the person who joined at a
Hmm.
DGM level is now at a board director level. So
So
that's
that's more about very proactive hiring, right? I mean, this
correct.
example. Okay.
Right.
So suppose if a promoter is open for some opportunities like this, and you find a very good resource,
Right.
you're open to recommend some of these new positions to the promoter and help them create a new organization also.
Correct. So most of the
Okay.
times when we get to understand the organization better and the growth plans better, we always keep our eyes open while identifying the right candidates for most of the opportunities that are there. And the moment we feel this candidate may fit in that specific organization better for their growth
Yeah.
plans, we try go pitch that to the promoter and say, why don't you have an exploratory chat? There is no commitment from either side, but just an exploratory
Sure.
chat may open up an opportunity for them. Yeah.
This sounds more like a strategic talent partner to me. It's
True.
not just about filling a position, but I think it's much more about enabling the business with the right talent for the
That's
future
right.
as well.
That's right.
Interesting. Okay, great. I mean, that sounds really exciting. In fact, for many people, it might just appear recruitment is all about getting a JD and talking to some candidates or downloading some profiles and packing them and sending them as a zip file. But I think this chat tells me that there's a lot much more of research and understanding the industry, dialoguing, sensitivity, confidentiality, lots of exciting stuff. I think this is not
That's
a
right.
boring job as some people try to put
Definitely
it.
no. Definitely no.
Okay. So if someone is excited with this role and possibly like to switch over from some other role in HR to talent acquisition, or if a youngster is exploring a career in talent acquisition, can you just summarize what do you think are the key skills that are required to do an excellent job in this profession?
Okay, so the very first thing is I suggest people do not look this as a stopgap or just try to get into an job. And we see most of the BTech graduates or BCom graduates get into an IT recruiter role these days. So that's more of desperation. But I would say if someone really want to get into a recruitment or a talent acquisition job, so they should really have a lot of patience, because they
Okay.
have to deal with a lot of people with varied mindsets or varied temperaments, because there are candidates who just say, why did you call me at this time, and they may just switch off the
Mhm.
phone. And or some people may be very open and try to understand what's the requirement and then politely say no. So a person should really be able to balance the kind of emotions, or should be very patient, and also should have an excellent interpersonal skills to manage all the stakeholders across the organization and the candidate side. And a major thing will be understanding the industries and the functions will be the key. So unless a person understands the specific industry or the job functions or departments that are available, it's really hard for someone to get success in this function. So I think these are a few very, very basic things that someone has to consider while they're trying to get into this role.
So look at this career as a long-term, prospect, and be more patient, and learn to deal with different types of people all around. Have excellent interpersonal relationships and possibly communication skills as well.
True.
And ability to quickly learn about different industries, different job roles.
Right.
If you have these bunch of things, I think that's a secret for successful talent acquisition kind of a career.
True.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this chat and sharing some of your direct live experiences. Personally, I learned quite a few about some of the new terminology, some nuances, right? From a macro perspective, we do have some understanding what is recruitment all about. But I think going into a little bit of nitty gritties, I think it just opens up much more about this field. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.